Placing the box, charging it up, and this is why they actually picked up the Rusty Claymore, just to charge this crate. It's going to be launching all the way up here, just to get some extra height, and then just going to be gliding to the boss fight. Alright, so what we are doing today is watching a Breath of the Wild speedrun from 2017. This game is going to turn 5 years soon, and I thought it would be cool to watch a speedrun from back in the day. In 2017, I actually watched Breath of the Wild speedruns, even though I hadn't even played the game back then. But I actually found this speedrunner called Ikkitrix in 2017. So this is a run from May 2017. And what you notice right away is they start their timer at the beginning of the run. So this is not something we do anymore. Nowadays, we start the timer when we gain control of Link. Which is to prevent some loading inconsistencies in the beginning here. So the timer started right at the beginning. Also, you will notice that this was done on Wii U, because back in the day, Wii U was actually faster than Switch. Switch only started being faster in the 1.6 update in 2019, I think it was, because that's when they added like the power loading capabilities. So this was done on Wii U. And it's in German, it's not in French. I don't know, German I think is supposedly 1 frame faster. I don't know if they didn't know any better, or if German somehow was fast on Wii U. But you will see that this is going to be quite different. Again, this is Ikkitrix run, and this is from May 2017, 2 months after the game came out. And I remember watching these runs in Ikkitrix stream back then. This was the first speedrunner I really watched. Oh, I just realized that the image isn't actually fully there. Wait, I'll fix that real quick. Okay, so looks like we are not grabbing close, but because this is a run before the scope clip was found, there was even like another method back in the day where speedrunners would actually clip out of the Shrine of Resurrection using boxes. So this is actually the cutscene that we get, and this is a 40-second cutscene or something, so we're going to be losing a lot of time here. We're probably also going to watch the actual opening cutscene. So, if you were around in 2017 for Breath of the Wild speedruns, the game actually wasn't very hype back then. There's going to be some really cool mechanics and tricks in this run later on. I remember seeing some of them. But it had, at least people were saying, oh, this is kind of boring because there's a lot of like cutscenes, a lot of menuing, a lot of talking, and you will see why on the Great Plateau mainly. But at least we get the legendary opening shot, which means in this run back then, time of day was also started. Something to consider. And if you actually look at the bottom left on the splits, there's a split for Magnesis of 9 minutes. 9 minutes to get to Magnesis. When runners speedrun nowadays, in 9 minutes they can be past 3 shrines. But yeah. And you will see why, because shield clipping also wasn't a thing back then. So not only are we going to get the first cutscenes of the game, we're also going to get the Great Plateau Tower at the start. That's probably going to be Ikkitrix's first objective here. So yeah, compared to the speedruns nowadays, at this point we would already have, or at least get the bombs rune right now with the new route. And it looks like we get the beetle here. Ikkitrix got the beetle here. That's probably going to be used for the attacker potion. That's actually a pretty convenient spot to get it. Also ended up grabbing a Hylian shroom. And is now running to the Woodcutter's Axe here instead. Which is something we don't get anymore. Even at one point we obviously used to get the Woodcutter's Axe in the cold area. Nowadays we don't even get the Woodcutter's Axe. Oh, true. Mentioning again, the timing obviously is different in this run. So this is actually not 4 minutes into the run with nowadays timing standards. But more like 3 minutes, but still. Okay, so we're getting the Zelda cutscene here in German. And then Ikkitrix makes his way to the Great Plateau Tower, but picking up some Hyrule grass on the way, just for food. I'm assuming backup food. I don't know if there's any other reason food was needed. Actually, some food may be needed here for reasons that we will still see. But then he is picking up some arrows in the ground here. Those arrows are always stuck there. So I guess that's a pretty consistent method of getting arrows. And then, is he gonna kill the Bokoblin here? He is, to get the Boko shield, which is just called Bock shield in German, apparently. You can actually headshot that Boko to get 5 arrows relatively consistently. I'm not sure if they were not needed. I guess he didn't even get a bow yet. I guess this is actually super interesting because so many things back then that we consider broken nowadays, like bows because of, yeah, bullet time bounces or BLSS, or just bullet time in general. Nowadays we think they're crucial, and it's actually the first item we pick up, basically, other than like a stick. Nowadays, our first priority in speedruns is to get a bow and arrows, and Ikkitrix didn't even bother getting one yet, even though he could have. Those Bokos you can actually get a bow from. Just because I guess it wasn't as needed. There's no wind bombs, there's not gonna be bullet time bounces, there's not gonna be BLSS. He will probably end up getting a bow later, and if I remember correctly, this route is probably not gonna get a bow until stasis, which in this route I think is the 3rd shrine. So, if I remember correctly, this route is not going to get a bow until the stasis shrine. But we'll see. I don't know if I ever watched this particular run, I just remember watching speedruns at the time. Okay, then we actually do the first glitch here, huge, I guess other than whistle sprinting, the fall damage cancel. That is obviously still a thing. We still do this glitch in the very first split of the run. So fall damage cancel was found very early into the game's life cycle. And I can already give away that this is going to be an amiibo run, which amiibo have always been useful in the speedrun. Again, even now, 5 years later almost, we still use amiibo in the fastest version of the route. Talking to the old man here, though, is something that you will rarely ever still see. Even speedrun categories that get the Great Plateau Tower usually have a way around the old man. Because you can actually skip this cutscene partially if you get the tower after you've already completed the shrine using shield clips. Only the camera moves around, but you don't actually have to talk to the old man. Okay, going for a shield surf here on the Boku shield. This is very low durability. But that actually looked pretty fast. And then down here, pretty decent way around the water. Actually walking over the Guardian to make that line a little bit more direct. That's actually smooth. I feel like usually when I try to go through this area, I get stopped somewhere. Pretty solid movement there. And then it looks like this route is gonna get Magnesis as the first shrine. Yeah, it's from May, Roko. This run is from May 2017. That's at least when it was verified. Alright, but that's still only 2 months after the game came out. Okay, Magnetismus, or Magnesis, is the first rune. And I think this is the point where you really realize, okay, Breath of the Wild speedrunning until this point back then doesn't seem very hype. You open doors, you watch cutscenes, you talk to the old man. And obviously we have this cutscene, which we still can skip, unfortunately. Still gonna have to sit through the rune menu. But that is the first rune. And I'm assuming the Magnesis threads are gonna look very similar. Nowadays, it's actually possible to skip a lot of the shrine by doing wind bombs. But it looks like that won't be done here. No bombs, and also no knowledge of wind bombs. And then just pushing the block, not putting the camera up, small optimization, not even optimization, but something I like to do. And then probably gonna be jumping, shield jumping over here, that was already known to be a thing. And then using the D-pad to open the door. So, I mean, this is pretty similar to how Magnesis would look like now in most runs, and that is a testament to the shrine. This shrine is just pretty boring. There's not too much you can do there. Let's see if they knew about skipping the cutscene. Let's see if they knew about... Oh, they didn't. So he's gonna lose time here. Nowadays we know, and you can actually see, if you look at the loading screen at the bottom right here, it's gonna take ages for the Zelda logo to fill up. Nowadays we know that if you wait until the text from the monk disappears and then skip the cutscene, you save like 3 to 4 seconds, which seems counterproductive, obviously, to wait to skip a cutscene. Okay, apparently you couldn't see because my camera was in front of it, so you didn't see it, but the load basically took longer. The load took longer than it usually would. My bad. Yeah, just trust me, my camera was in front of it. But you could see that Ikkitrix ended up skipping the cutscene there right away, which does lose time. And the old man shows up again, and we can't skip that either. That's another thing that's still in 2022 speedruns. And it probably will be, unless there's some sort of plateau skip. Yep, it's a long cutscene. And now that is interesting. Immediate warp. So I'm gonna basically, if you like look at the splits, I'm gonna give away the route of this. You can already see it if you look at the splits. We warp back to the Shrine of Resurrection here, and then Ikkitrix is gonna go to Cryonis to the highest point, and then basically make his way down again to bombs, and then back to the Temple of Time. So, and this is interesting. It looks like activating this door here is what activates the warp point to the Shrine of Resurrection, but it doesn't, even though the actual warp point is right there. The thing that activates this warp point is watching the beginning cutscene, so where it says Breath of the Wild, where we see the overworld. So because Ikkitrix did that, he was able to warp back here, picks up 3 more Hyrule or Hylian mushrooms. And I remember from here, there's going to be some pretty impressive shield surfing. Keeping in mind that obviously from this point on, he is going to be freezing. It's going to get cold. But shield surfing down here on this slope allows you to actually get a pretty nice amount of speed. And if you make sure to always land on those slopes like Ikkitrix does here, you get even more speed. You can skip some of those stones. And this is actually pretty fast movement to just get all the way over here to Cryonis. He's then going to jump, shield jump over the river. Crouching there. Not sure if intended or not. I don't know if that's an issue that maybe is more common with like the Wii U Pro controller or the gamepad. But very nice shield jump and jumping out. I remember when I first learned Breath of the Wild speedrunning, which was in 2019, I learned this route. And this particular movement is horrible. Being able to clip, it's not to clip, sorry, clipping wasn't a thing then. Being able to run and whistle sprint up the slope without ever getting stuck is actually hard. That is actually hard. And then he's shield jumping up here. Might be a little bit faster for those slopes. And also, this is very smart. This is something that I learned way too late. Walking on the right here where there's rock instead of snow, because Link runs slower on snow than on rocks, is actually pretty big. Like even in speedruns now, if you walk up to Cryonis, make sure that you stay on the rocks instead of the snow, because you have just more running / walking speed on them. Now, Cryonis is going to be a more interesting shrine. In the newest version of the routes, we can obviously just wind bomb to skip the shrine, which is just a common theme. But let's see what strats Ikkitrix was using in 2017. Again, another big unskippable cutscene. Not much he could have done there, and we can't do yet either. Also interesting, so the run he was comparing against here was a 39:57, which I don't know if it was the record at the time. I'm pretty sure Ikkitrix got the first time under 40 minutes. But that was at least the PB at the time. Okay, Cryonis to get up there. Cryonis again to lift the gate. And he does go for the shield jump and gets it. And the funny part is actually this strat was found also super early into the game's life cycle. And was found by Shaden, who I know is friends with Ikkitrix. Ikkitrix and Shaden actually both went on later to speedrun the Super Mario Odyssey 2-player mode together. So I'm assuming that's where he learned the strat from the actual person that found it. So that makes sense. So added that strat into the run super early. And again, skipping the cutscene. You can actually kind of see, like on the left of my camera there, that Z filling. And it's just a little bit slower than usual because he was skipping the cutscene right away. And then jumping and shield jumping all the way down here, shield surfing through the stake. Very interesting. And then more shield surfing. So this is another... wow, that was actually really nice, getting that little shield jump at the end of the surf there. This is another way where we can tell shield surfing back then was actually much more important. He was using shield surfing to go from the tower all the way to the Magnesis Shrine, was then using shield surfing all the way to get to Cryonis, and is going to be using it even more here. This is basically the path that we would now take to get from Stasis to Cryonis, but he's going to be taking it in reverse. And because Cryonis is higher up than Stasis, he can use shield surfing here pretty effectively. And even more, damn, actually keeping the speed all the way there. Still has to walk up the slope. And it's probably going to be shield surfing again. And it looks like health here is relatively tight. He's already down to 1 heart and it has now just dropped to half a heart. But it looks like he's barely going to make this without having to eat food. If he immediately jumps down here into fall damage cancel, that was very smooth. Didn't even stop to line it up. Didn't even look down, knew where he was dropping. That was nice. And still, it doesn't have a bow. And I'm pretty sure the bow that Ikkitrix is going to get here is the one under the boulder. That in current runs we would use to kind of boost up to get to Cryonis. But yeah, still no bow, which would be unimaginable nowadays. That would be one of the biggest priority items to get. And another unskippable cutscene. One that we still have to deal with nowadays. Now, Stasis back then, and for a long time in Breath of the Wild's life cycle, was a much more important rune than it is nowadays. And you will see why. When I learned the game, Stasis was still the most effective rune. Again, and I learned the game in 2019, this is 2017. Misses the Stasis there on the boulder, shouldn't be a big deal. Probably looking at around a second, if even, of time loss. And the way he's positioned the camera is, I'm assuming he's going to be jumping across here. Yep, and already doing that jump. Very nice. And is going to get a full heal here. Okay. Controller disconnected there. Not sure if on purpose. I'm not sure if he was using a different controller to do that jump or something, or if the controller actually had issues. Wait, if I move my camera a little smaller here, you can literally see the Zelda logo isn't filling up yet. And it's still not filling up, and it's now just starting to fill up. So, using modern knowledge, we would know that, yeah, not skipping that cutscene right away would actually help us here. Okay, 1 hit here against the boulder to get the bow, finally. There's a bow under the boulder that Ikkitrix is going to pick up. It's the Traveler's Bow. And then we see why Stasis, even back then, was already an amazing rune. It's going to charge up the boulder fully, has just picked up the bow, and is now going to ride that boulder all the way into the field. This is where we see the Master Mode Lionel in the game now. I don't even know if Master Mode was released at the time. Probably not. This is 2 months after the game came out. Don't remember. I think it came out in like the summer of 2017. I didn't even own the game at the time. And already going for rocketry. So this nowadays we would take towards the top of the Temple of Time. But Ikkitrix is going to be taking it into bombs. And that was 2 very, very nice stasis launches. One right next to the tree and then the second one right in front of the door. So that was the movement then from stasis to bombs, and that doesn't even look bad. Like, I feel like nowadays this would be kind of comparable. Obviously, if we used a BLSS here, it would be a little faster. But for back then, again, 2 months after the game came out, that looked like a pretty nice way to get from bombs to stasis. No, sorry, from stasis to bombs, that way. And the last rune, Bombs, which nowadays is known to be the most effective rune, back then was probably considered mostly useless. There's gonna be some ways that bombs are going to be used here, and I think most of them will be literally enemy distractions. And for this shrine, because we can't just wind bomb through it. Wow, I've never actually seen that strat. I've never seen the strat for the first... What? I've never seen anybody blow up the first 2 blocks that way. That actually seems faster than throwing the bomb. So he basically did the jumping and leaving the bomb behind strat in the first 2 blocks. Wow, interesting. Because we used to do the shrine like that in 2019, but I've never actually seen anybody do this, and that seems faster. Interesting, maybe it's a little risky, or hard to do, but Ikkitrix managed to do it there quickly. And again, skipping cutscene early, so I think overall he's actually, without knowing, lost like 12 seconds here. That's actually so strange if you think about it. A time loss that he didn't even know about by just skipping the cutscene faster. How does that not cause you damage is what somebody's asking. I think it's mainly because you are like under the actual explosion. And for the second part, it's exactly because the bomb blows up something else. And this cutscene is also still in the run. After you beat all 4 shrines, the old man will show up again. But in this case, it's actually kind of later in the day. It is actually 4:50 p.m. in the game. But that's something that we wouldn't encounter now, because we wouldn't even start the time of day. Now, Ikkitrix is walking around here, and this is actually a different path that people used to do, but it's because he is scanning amiibo here. And he's actually, I don't know if that was, that may have not been a purpose. He only picked up 1 fish. He only picked up 1 attack-up fish. But I guess that's all he's going to need if he's going through castle. Yeah, he picked up 1 attack-up fish. Or maybe I missed the second one. And 1 armored fish. I don't know if the armored one was on purpose. I've only seen 1, but maybe he picked up the other one quick. And again, a strat that was done 2 months after the game came out. The legendary tree launch all the way up to the Temple of Time. Not in the run anymore now in 2022. The newest records will go to this place from Cryonis using the BLSS. But obviously this is a legendary strat, if not just for the animated speedrun. Probably highlighted the strat the best. And this is going to be a 22-minute plateau, which is actually super impressive, if you think about it. 22 minutes while getting the Grey Plateau Tower, watching 2 full additional cutscenes, talking to the old man, doing shrines in a completely different order. If you think about that, and consider that nowadays with all of this insane tech, a sub 20 is like a pretty nice goal for runners that start the game, that is crazy. Now, I literally thought he was gonna mid-air wind bomb there. For some reason, the way Ikkitrix moved the glider there, I thought he was gonna mid-air wind bomb now, which obviously he's not going to, because nobody knew that was possible. He's actually just gliding to this rock. And then also actually fixing ragdoll. I don't know. Oh, because of the shield jump. So they already knew about the ragdoll mechanic. So he intentionally ragdolled there because he had done some shield jumps where he unequipped the shield and is now going to backwards jump at the 7th beep of the boulder to get a stasis launch. That's so cute. It's actually crazy that back then people would probably think this is fast, because obviously Link is moving quite fast, but nowadays the speed at which he's gliding here looks so slow. But that's just because we're spoiled now with wind bombs and like super launches and everything. But yeah, back then this probably was pretty hype. I remember watching this back then and thinking, wow, this is crazy, like what a crazy launch. But obviously nowadays we are used to different stuff. And then this is the second reason for Amiibo is Epona. Epona is really fast. Like, yes, BTBs are fast, but using Epona, and specifically what he was doing there is the infinite stamina glitch. You can see he's depleting his horse stamina that isn't even there. If you press both triggers, X and A, in a specific combo like he was doing there, and you have a shield equipped, you can basically refresh the stamina. But think about this, if you look at the map right now, he's almost about to be at the place where you get the Sacred Ground Ruins, where you get the memory, and he's just riding, because the horse is actually fast. Specifically Epona. Epona is not the fastest horse in the game. There's 5-speed horses in the game. Epona is 4-speed. But being able to just scan it and immediately being able to use it instead of taming a horse is really fast. And I know you can't see the map here, but the map isn't there, just like a normal speedruns, because he's never gotten the central tower. He is gonna have to maneuver around this Guardian. I remember actually watching this speedrun at SGDQ 2017, Summer Games Done Quick, and I remember Kate had pretty big issues getting past this Guardian in the run. It seems like a scary part. And now I wonder what he's gonna do from here. I don't know what the strats were for this, but he's actually gonna be changing to bombs, and this is probably gonna be one of the biggest uses for the bomb rune. Now, I talked about this strat in my Breath of the Wild tutorial in 2019, so even though I can't believe they did this in 2017, actually. This is crazy. The game was out for 2 months. I remember learning this strat in 2019. They're gonna be charging the rock all the way, then blow up the bomb to change the trajectory, and then use stasis, and then gonna get hit by the slab, which is gonna cause 2 damage, and that should launch them all the way to where you have the chance of getting a banana. Now, for Ikkitrix, he doesn't actually need that banana, because he's scanned amiibo, so he can actually land at the dining hall, and in my opinion, that's pretty impressive. Getting from the Great Plateau to the dining hall, the way they did then, honestly, I'm almost jealous. Like, this seems like more hype than just doing one BTB. Like, yes, the BTB is fast, and yes, the BLSS is fast, but that specific chain of events, just from the paraglider to get here, is actually kind of hype. Yeah, the good old slabber strat. I actually taught that in my tutorial in 2 years after this run, still. It's gonna be grabbing the... It's gonna try to grab this bow, and I remember I made this mistake many times with this route. Trying to grab the royal bow there. He's probably gonna pick up the banana and maybe the Molduga fin. Yep, because he picked up the beetle as well. So he's only gonna need 1 fish, I'm assuming. And then the royal guard's spear. Making sure that this guy starts to attack, and very smart. This is actually a mistake that I made. Going through the middle door here is definitely the play, so the moblins don't follow you. I don't know why I didn't do this in some of my early runs. So the moblins followed me a lot to this location. Dropping the bomb here, barely dodging the explosion. No way, he did the backflip. He's gaming. I don't think he was intending to break up that sword, but how cool was that backflip? Out of the sword grab, actually speeding through the castle right now. It's gonna be landing behind the moblin here, which he previously whistled for, so the moblin was distracted because of his whistle. Also picking up the rusty shield. Went for this quick sneak strike, and I'm assuming he's gonna throw this weapon away unless he specifically picked that weapon up to break the crates. It looks like he did. I don't know if there's another reason that he picked up that rusty claymore. Oh god, that arrow RNG is not looking clean. Yeah, this is looking pretty bad. You can get much luckier in terms of arrows from this chest. Very interesting climb. I've never seen this version of the climb. Actually looks really fast. Looks like the Zalfos was not distracted by Ikkitrix bomb there. That was the plan. But he's gonna go for a backup strat here. Still gets the sneak strike. And again, this is one of the main reasons we... one of the main purposes that we used bombs for back in the day, just to distract enemies. He's gonna collect... Yes, the razor shroom here. And yeah, I guess he only needs 1 fish. 1 razor shroom, 1 fish, 1 banana, 1 beetle, and 1 Molduga fin is what's gonna be the recipe here. I don't know if there was a purpose for the armor carp. Nope, I don't think so. Immediately cooks it. This is clean. This is clean gameplay. Gets the 5-minute 3 attack up potion. And now this is where it's gonna be interesting, and this was my favorite amiibo strat in 2017. And if you think about the fact that they did this back then, is where it gets really crazy. So placing the box, charging it up, and this is why they actually picked up the rusty claymore, just to charge this crate. It's gonna be launching all the way up here, just to get some extra height, and then just gonna be gliding to the boss fight. So this is pretty similar to what wind bombs used to do. So you basically just wind bomb to one of the towers and then wind bomb to the other. But here they just elevator launch all the way up to just simply glide to the boss fights. There's not going to be wind blade skip. There's not going to be any other skips for the boss fights back then, obviously. But just being able to launch yourself up and glide over is so effective and so simple. But it just works super well. And looks like Ikkitrix is going to be like a minute ahead here compared to his previous run. And there was almost no mistakes at this point. Crazy gameplay for only 2 months after the game came out. But then Wind Blight. Let's look at Windblade's strats. We barely see this fight anymore because obviously nowadays this fight is skipped. Gliding in, and I used to learn the strat. You just glide into close range to then go for some attacks onto him. I'm gonna make sure that we decrease the volume a little bit. The Blight fights are traditionally very loud in the game. So get some pretty quick phase 1 here. Again, the attacker potion helping a lot. And then next up, we transition into phase 2. When Ikkitrix equips the Royal Guard's bow, he's gonna go for 3 headshots here, if I remember correctly, to stun Windblight, and then simply go for a charge attack with the spear to finish it off. So first some single hits, and then charge attack with the spear, and if you get all of the hits, like here, perfect phase 2 of Windblight. These are the strats that I learned when I learned Breath of the Wild speedrunning. Water Blight, starting out with 2 spear attacks just to break the spear, do some extra damage, and then spin to win between the arm and the body. This is something that we've done for the longest time and still do. And then super quick phase 1 Water Blight. This does not look very different to what speedrunners would do in 2022, which is crazy how fast they figured that out. Again, this is 2 months after the game came out, this run. Water Blight phase 2. Going for the double headshot, I'm assuming, to get him from the ceiling. Probably switching, not switching to the boomerang, but going for a spin attack with the Stone Smasher here. So still decent damage. 2 more headshots, I'm assuming. And then, I don't know if that's enough damage for the jump attack. No, still has to go for the spin. Gets 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. And finishes the fight against Water Blight. And now Fire Blight. Probably starting off with 3 spin hits. A classic into a slam. And then not switching weapons here, actually continuing with the Stone Smasher. To then probably finish off the fight with the Royal Guard sword. It should break right here. Gets Fire Blight to phase 2, and then phase 2 is probably mainly going to be where he is going to use the Royal Claymore and probably the boomerang a little bit. Is this run basically glitchless? No, we did see some glitches here, but it's definitely much more glitchless than it is now. Actually already waited for the bomb to be behind Fireblight. This is a strat that I didn't know for the longest time, just to make sure that Fireblight lands in a more favorable position for you to actually execute this. And he didn't use... I think he didn't even try to go for the 1 cycle, because he simply just used the Stone Smasher there. And that's not bad. Gets a pretty clean Fireblight kill here. You can actually technically kill him there in 1 cycle, but... it is not a big deal. Thunderblight actually waiting for him to approach. And he's gonna break the shield right away to then try to headshot him. Honestly, this headshot is super easy to miss. He's gonna pick up the boomerang here again and goes for some more hits. And is then just gonna repeat. No, goes for the second headshot. This is what we would still do. And then probably just spin to win to finish the fight. Okay, breaks the shield again. So this takes actually 3 cycles of these strats. And I can see how the strats that we would do nowadays are much faster. I'm very interested about Calamity though, because he only has like 2 normal arrows right now. A couple ice arrows, I guess. And we know obviously that there is a couple arrows available in the Calamity arena. 5 normal arrows and also 10 bomb arrows. So phase 2 looks pretty much the same now. Breaking the shield again, headshotting again. Making sure to not throw your boomerang against one of those metal pillars that can be very bad. Breaks the shield again. And goes for the spin to win. Barely gets it. Nicely done. That was a pretty similar Blight fight to what I'm used to in these days. Slight changes, slight differences, but very well done. Now, Calamity Ganon. Now, this is interesting. I think he's going to start off the fight with a Flurry Rush. Goes for a headshot right away, and then just... nope. Okay, he's just going to do headshots. And okay, he's actually going for the parries, and I think he has to. Because of the arrows that he has here, he wouldn't be able to beat Calamity any other way. He has 6 frost arrows, and he missed another headshot there. Headshots are super crucial. Doubled, and he missed another one. That's actually going to be close. Goes for another parry, though. And I think it's literally needed. Missing headshots in this fight is very bad. Because you have double damage, you miss out on so much damage if you miss headshots like there. And his resources here are going to be extremely limited. It's going to grab the 10 bomb arrows and the royal broadsword. And another parry, I'm assuming. Wow, okay, this fight seems to be very parry intensive back in the day, and I can see why. Obviously, it's guaranteed damage that you get in, and you get Ganon down to the ground to get some more free damage in. It's gonna backflip away. I think he was considering to maybe parry him there. He just pulled out the shield, maybe not. It's gonna go for more bomb arrows here. Another parry. Wow, this fight seems much more intense, honestly, than it's nowadays. Any parry missed here means you die. So, yeah, you don't want to mess around there. Oh, he started shooting the bomb arrows a little bit too early there. So he's actually not falling. And he's gonna miss one because Ganon just stopped. That is obviously a little unfortunate. And I think this is actually his last bomb arrow. But phase 1 is almost over. One more Flurry Rush might actually do it. And yeah, I think it will. Yes, damn. Nice. So phase 2, Ganon doesn't need any arrows anymore. So he managed to, by just parrying... and getting some hits in to get a pretty clean phase 1 Calamity. Phase 2 Calamity, and he gets the laser right away, which is big because Ganon was just at the ceiling or at the wall. Getting the parry right at the start is super rare and something many of us runners wish to get, and he managed to get it right there. He has a durability up Royal Broadsword. I think he won't need it. It would be ridiculous if he needed it back in the day, but no, he shouldn't need it. A Royal Claymore, sorry, would usually make it through the fight in one go, even if you don't have durability up. And he goes for the stun lock. So even the stun lock back then was already found. It's also crazy how loud this fight is in comparison to the rest of the game. I feel like I'm screaming into the mic. Hopefully it's not too obnoxious. Looking at my mixer, I should still be louder than the game, but it is quite loud. Yeah, no extra hits here. I don't know if the position here was perfect, but he manages to do this pretty quickly. He's probably gonna go for one hit into weapon throw here. No, he goes for the last spin, finishes the fight, and that was a clean run. At this point, what else is there to say? This was a hype finish to the run. And that was amazingly played. There's very few mistakes in this run in terms of actual gameplay. Ikkitrix missed a headshot here and there. He maybe... I think there was like one thing where he picked up... no, he didn't even pick up a wrong item. There was maybe like... Oh, he didn't manage to get the bow right away. But overall, I would say 10-20 seconds of visible time loss in terms of mistakes, right? But all of the rest is just not knowing about stuff that we know about now. So this run is actually super high in quality. And Ikkitrix actually didn't run the game anymore after this point, which is very sad because I think he's a super talented runner. He got great times in Super Mario Odyssey later together with Shaden, who's another runner that just disappeared. I don't know if he's watching somewhere, if he's playing the game somewhere. Maybe we're gonna see them back in the sequel. I would love to see it because they're two incredibly skilled gamers, and Ikkitrix in this run showing why. I remember at one point I watched Ikkitrix stream again in like 2019 or 2018, late 2018, trying to figure out how shield clips work. Maybe he was thinking about returning to the game. Maybe he's done runs offline. You never really know, but that was impressive to watch, and I really love the castle section. I think the castle section back then is actually more hype than it is nowadays. Not only getting to castle, but also the way they actually get up to the boss fights. And it was also just super cleanly executed. Pretty quick shot here on Dark Beast Ganon, but not much you can do here. This is probably going to be slightly slower than Dark Beast and record runs nowadays by just not shooting as quick. It's going to be riding around here, going to get the body shot after that. But yeah, another thing obviously, and this is actually crazy to think about, it looks like he probably lost around 12 seconds or more from not knowing to wait for skipping the cutscenes after you finish the shrines, which is such a weird niche mechanic. Like even now to this day, when I speedrun and I don't skip that cutscene right away, people ask me why. Why don't you just skip the cutscene right away? It seems like free time save, but it ironically isn't. It's gonna jump into the updraft here to go for the final shot. Backflipping around. My favorite moment was like that backflip out of that sword grab, which is not only fast but also looks stylish. And it's going for the final shot, ending the run at 25 seconds past 39. So 39.25 with accurate timing, with accurate 2022 timing. This was actually a 28.21. Mainly because, again, like I said, runs used to be timed differently. They used to be timed at the starting screen instead of when you gain control of Link. But this was actually really cool and refreshing to look back to. Let me know if you would like to see me watch another old run and maybe explain the strats back then. I think old shrines could be super interesting. It's maybe too long for like a reaction. But maybe even the old Master Sword speedruns, we could do something like that again. Also, if you want to, you can subscribe to the channel. We're pretty close to 60k YouTube. I would appreciate it. And you could join me on Twitch. We had some people watching this live with me just now. Thank you, by the way, Twitch chat, for watching. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.